Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome to Stamp with Teah. I'm Teah Woodward, an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and I am really glad to be back with you today. I am going to adjust my camera because it's been a month since everything's been set up, and quite a month it's been. My husband and I both had COVID, and it knocked us down, and so now I am just now catching up on everything. I say catching up which means I'm having to let go of some things that I have no control over, and taking the things I have control over and making them as good as I possibly can. So that's what I can do, right? So the reason I am doing this video today, it sounds like somebody's doing something outside my front door, is we have the new mini catalog coming up. It's going to go live on September 6th. And I shipped out complimentary catalogs to my customers. And thank you. If you're one of my customers, I thank you so very much. I appreciate you all. I tucked a few goodies in your catalog, and the card that I'm going to demonstrate today was the make and take that I tucked into your catalog. So I tucked a kit in here. That's the card I'm going to make, and I also tucked a gift tag. And so there's a pretty little gift tag that's just. I will be doing a separate little video on this. This is simple. This obviously will be a quick little video, but something that I wanted to make sure that everybody knew. This is something that's also from this catalog. I can't open this and show this to you yet, but I can tell you that the stamp set and the dies that I am going to demonstrate today, and I've already actually die cut everything. I don't know if you can hear it or not. My voice is still strained from being sick, so I'm going to keep this video as short as possible. It's just been killing me that I've had to wait this long to do a video. But like I said, I can't open the catalog and show you, but this is on page, I'm going to double check, but page 47, I believe. Double check, and I'm correct. No, I'm not correct. Ooh, I almost lied to you. It must be on page 31. It is. It's on page 31. And so this is, I can show you because I have these pieces. I can show you the stamp set and the dies, and I just can't wait to show you how I put all this together. And I've seen some other magnificent samples that people have been putting together using these same things and what they are mixing and matching with it as well. There is a coordinating designer series paper that I've used on this card. Well, I'll hold it up, but you're also going to see it when I turn it down. So here's the card, and see if I get that close enough, if you can see that I did some embossing on this layer back here. I used the Timber 3D embossing folder. I like how clean this card is. My husband is very, very fixated on Christmas cards that are the classic Christmas colors. And when I told him I was about to start making Christmas cards, he about flipped a biscuit. I think it was 103 on that day. And so I made this one in very traditional colors just to soothe him, make it a little easier on him. So you will see, as this next few weeks go on, some non-traditional colors from me as well. But today is very traditional colors. Before I turn the camera down, I'm going to take a real quick peek and make sure that the video is, I do see I've got one viewer, so make sure this video is live in all the places that it's supposed to be live. And this one is live, so that's awesome. And then I am just going to double check this link and make sure that's working, and it is. Yay! My first time back in a month, and we are up and running, and I am so grateful. All right, and I've even got the window open, so if there's a chat, I can see it. All right, I can set this out of the way and move a couple of things around so that I can show you what the supporting characters are in this card. It was so much fun to put a few goodies in the, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It was so much fun to put some goodies in my customers' catalogs. It's kind of like an early Christmas present to my customers, to let them know how much I appreciate them and just to get them excited. I happen to think that this is an extra special catalog. There's just something about this catalog that exudes some characteristics about crafting, more so even than the annual catalog. I shouldn't say that because I love the annual catalog too, but this one really speaks to my heart for some reason. Like, I want everything in this catalog. So I can't even really tell you why. See just how pretty that paper is on the back? This is actually from that same collection that I'm going to show you today. The other thing I want to mention is if you live in the United States and you do not already have a demonstrator that you work with and you need a copy of this catalog, please let me know. My email address is stampwithteah, so STAMPWITHTEAH @gmail.com, and I would be glad to send you one of these catalogs. This catalog's only good for 4 months. So this was new this year. The mini catalog is only good for 4 months. So it's not something you want to dilly-dally on. All right, I'm now going to turn the camera down and show you the supporting characters for this card and show you this card in more detail. And hopefully I've already got everything set up pretty straight. Well, there we go. Pretty straight. Okay, I'm on a button, so I've got to switch that before. No, I'm not on a button. Just want to make sure I'm not accidentally, sending an SOS or something like that. I've heard of that happening to people. All right, so here is the card. Isn't that pretty? I like this clean white on white. I love the classic real red. I've used some shaded spruce and then just this little piece of DSP. And then on the inside, I've added another holly leaf besides the two I have on the outside. So let me show you. Here is the Christmas Classics stamp set. You can see that we have 5 sentiments, and then there's more over here that you can mix and match in so you can expand how these read. We've got this fir branch, which is actually one of the things that sold me on this because I happen to like to add that to the corners and the edges and such of my cards. I love holly in general, and these I thought were really good berries. The ones that are usually just stamped solid, I think are kind of blasé. This is pretty. And this corner stamp is really very sweet, and that coordinates nicely with this edge here. All right, then we have these coordinating dies. So for this card, I will show you that this die makes this piece here, and then this die makes the label that you stamp that can sit on top. And then the same thing happens with this square version over here. Then we have, these are a couple of detail dies. Then we have, these are stamp and silhouette dies, stamp and silhouette dies. And then a detail die for the holly. And I have not figured these out yet, but I will get there. So I've used these on this card. I've used the Timber 3D embossing folder, and I have used the pastel adhesive back sequins. I've used the gold. I'm going to move all of that aside and start assembling this. And just pull this hair back in a pony quick. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to quickly show you this paper. And I don't usually take the time to show the paper, but because the catalog has not gone live yet, I am going to show it to you because I want you to see how beautiful it is. I'm not going to go through piece by piece, but here is one side, and this is smaller because this is the piece that I used for my customers' make and takes. But we've got these beautiful prints on this side, and then the other side, I'm missing, one of them's not showing here. So we've got two that have musical notes. This one has a smaller set and it looks like on a wood grain. And then this one is like a little bit bigger musical note. It also kind of looks like a wood grain. And we've got these two wood grain looking, and then this red kind of neutral print and this shaded spruce neutral print. So I think this is an excellent, excellent, excellent designer series paper for Christmas. This happens to be my all-time favorite print that if you come into my house, you see decoration of this. Oh my gosh, that's what I didn't mention yet. September 9th, if you're in the Tri-Cities, Washington area on September 9th from 1 to 4 p.m., I am holding an open house to kick off this mini catalog. So there will be lots of samples and some holiday cookies and some make and takes for you to make. It's a no-cost event. Bring your friends. I have wanted to have an in-home event since we moved here in February, and I have not been able to do that for, well, because you all know I've had a couple of surgeries and that sort of thing, and here I am, and now I'm finally going to get this kicked off. And an open house would be the perfect way to do it. Okay, our card base, I'm going to take a sip of water. Card base is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is a top fold card. So I am going to just fold that and burnish that real quick. Give that a nice crease using my bone folder. Just like that. And then I have my embossed layer that is 4 by 5 1/4. And again, this has been embossed with the Timber 3D embossing folder. I will be adding all of this to my blog. It is not up on my blog yet, but it will be. You may need to give me a day to get that done because I'm right after this video. If my voice holds out, I have another video to record because I'm behind in everything from, well, shall we just say I'm just behind. And I'm trying to get caught up because, well, I'm trying to get caught up. I am going to center that on the front of my card base. And I could have used dimensionals, but I'm using dimensionals in these layers here that's already kind of giving it a bit of a mound. And so I didn't want to add too many more layers. So I'm giving that a nice little squish to hold that down. So my card base is basic white, thick cardstock. My embossed layer is the regular weight of basic white that I use to emboss. So it's a little lighter weight than I used for the card base. Okay, come on, stick. I might not have gotten enough glue right there. There we go. Then I'm going to take my, real red that is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. That's my matte layer. In my designer series paper that is 2 inches by 5 1/4. I'm going to adhere those together. And I'm just going to center that so that it's about equal amount of exposure of that red on each side. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love this designer series paper. Every single piece in that package I love. Normally, there's at least one or two that I'm like, not going to use it. This package, I love all of them, and I love all sides. So now I am going to adhere this right in the center. And the reason I want to make sure that I'm getting it in the center is because I'm centering my greeting and this whole detail die. I'm centering that in the middle of this. And if I'm too low or I'm too high, this span is going to go off of the card, which means I would have to offset it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just not what my intention is. So I'm being intentional in my placement. Whoops. So that looks about center to me. Scooch that over just a little bit. I like to use the green glue because it gives me a second to move things around if I need to, and I needed to in that case. There we go. Isn't that nice and clean and oh, just so pretty. All right. So now I am to the point of assembling my focal point. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to adhere. I'm just going to use 2 of these holly leaves on the front. So I'm saving 1 for the message liner that goes on the inside. I am going to just apply on the front of the holly leaf, on the bottom of the stem, and the bottom of the leaf. Just that much. Oops, put my thumb right in it. And then dropped my, okay, I'm getting butterfingers now. Here we go. There we go. So I'm adhering that. You could use mini glue dots for this too. Now in my instructions to my customers when I wrote the tutorial, I did mention try not to get too much higher than the detail die here, because if you do, it's not going to fit from top to bottom. This is going to fit fine, but I don't want to go any much higher than I did. Got a bunch of glue on my hand, of course. Here we go. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now, there is in this new mini catalog, there are some sequins that are red that would look beautiful placed on these berry stems. I did not get those. I actually had a couple of different thoughts. I love to use my blends, although I did not on this card. Thought about it. I need to experiment with that. Haven't done that yet. I have the name of it just went right out of my head. 1 second. The Enamel Effects Basics, so the paint in the bottles, I have that. And I thought about trying to put that on these as well, but I haven't practiced it yet, so I'll get there. Maybe I'll get there before the open house. Maybe I'll have some samples. Okay, so this is now ready for me to get my sentiment stamped here and get that mounted on here so that I can mount this on here. Next, I like to, because these are photopolymer stamps, I like to use my Stampin' Pearson mat to get a better impression. And I have chosen to use the Season's Greetings on the front. And I'm using real red, and this just barely fits, but it does fit. Right, but it's going to take me a second to get it lined up just right. Oh, that's not my best lineup job. Let me turn this over and do it again. That should be better. More better. Way more better. Okay. I'm going to close up for now. Red and all this white paper could be a mess if I make a mistake. Set this aside. All right, I am now going to use some dimensionals. On the back here. And then center this on here. It looks fairly straight. I'm now going to put dimensionals on the back. This is bigger, so instead of just doing a single row, I'm going to do a double row. Now, if I was doing contrast, so for instance, if this detail die had been in the green and I put this white on here, maybe I wouldn't have used the dimensionals in between. And this could have been just a little bit flatter for mailing. Just a thought. Oops, almost put the wrong one away. But I really liked the white on white. If you've ever been in my house, you know there are two things that I love, two colors that well, three. I have a fair amount of white, but my big colors are red and green. Those are the colors of our furniture and our accents and such. All right. And now this will be centered here. And I'm looking at the tips of those two holly leaves to make sure that I'm staying within my boundaries. And from side to side and top to bottom, that's looking about right. A little slightly crooked. That looks right. I'm going to, in the make and takes that I sent to my customers, there were 3 sequins. This is what the package looks like if you have the package. And you're just going to place those sequins. Okay, come on. Not an issue I run into if it's on the big sheet, but when it's on the little sheet, sometimes it slides off and sticks to my tabletop. There we go. So there are my scattered sequins. Now we still need to do the inside of the card. Okay, my fingers are crossed because my voice is held out so far. Yay! So we're gonna just prop that open. I'm going to bring over my sentiment. The sentiment that I'm using is tidings of comfort and joy. Almost 100% of my Christmas cards will say joy on them somewhere. It's my favorite word. My husband knows he just doesn't have a choice. Let's see if I get that straight. Not too shabby. Close this up. Now I'm going to get a little bit of my multi-purpose adhesive, put it on the back of my holly leaf. Just little dinky dots. And see if I can pick this up without getting glue everywhere. And I'm going to position this in the corner like that, and I'm going to try not to slide it anywhere so I don't slide that glue anywhere. Flip this over, put some adhesive on the back. Looking, let's see, no comments, no questions. Oops. Okay, a little bit of adhesive on the edge there. There we go. And slide that into position. Beautiful. And we have completed our card. So again, this is a card from the Christmas Classics. This is my very first sample. This is the card that was included as a make and take in my customers' catalog packets. I hope that you enjoyed this card. I thank you so much for joining me today. And with any luck, my voice will hold out and I'll be able to do a second video here very shortly. Thank you for joining me today. Big hugs. Please stay well and be safe. Bye.